With the release of The Mountain, Gorillaz now have 9 official studio albums, so I'm gonna rank them all from weakest to strongest, based solely on my personal opinion. I'll also give you my favorite and least favorite track from each project, rate those songs out of 10, and award the albums a final score out of 100. I'd appreciate your support if you enjoy it. I do respond to every single comment. Now let's get going!
Revolving doors, what have I done?
The Fall, released in 2010, is essentially just a bunch of demos, ideas, and concepts for a Gorillaz album. And don't get me wrong, I really like the direction that most of it is headed. There's some breezy ambience, funky beats, and interesting sounds, but it just feels completely unfinished. Most of the tracks either sound underproduced, incomplete, or just straight up annoying. And yeah, sure, it's a fun look into Gorillaz and how their creative process is done, like it's the skeleton of their music, but it's not complete! There's not enough here for me to actually enjoy it. And I have to mention the fact that this was all recorded and mixed entirely on an iPad, which, yes, is very, very impressive, but does that make it sound better? No. Once again, it's just another thing to admire about their process. Anyway, my favorite song off here is definitely Bobby and Phoenix is a chill, soothing indie rock track that features Bobby Womack. Who would have guessed it was Bobby? Yeah, some of the vocals are a little grating, but for the most part, I heavily dig it. A good song, 7 out of 10. And now for the worst, I don't care if it's cheating, it's... Why? Just why?
Bruh.
Seattle Yodel is just an egregiously annoying yodel sound effect being spammed for like 40 seconds straight. It just sounds like what would happen if you handed a child a soundboard. It's unbearable, it's awful, it's an easy 0 out of 10. Anyway, I can appreciate The Fall for what it is. Yeah, it's an interesting display of what the early works of a Gorillaz project looks like, plus it was made on an iPad. Cool, whoa. It's not all that satisfying though. It's like a 45 out of 100.
I'm yellow, he was blue.
Humans is so disappointing because in theory, this album would be phenomenal. It's their 2017 release and it features a brand new artist on nearly every track, like Vince Staples, De La Soul, Danny Brown, Pusha T, Kali Uchis, and more. So it could have been this giant collaboration with new ideas and performances from several different people, but it ends up being more of just one of those various artists albums that was simply produced by Gorillaz. And what I mean by that is it doesn't feel like a Gorillaz album. It's just a bunch of random shit thrown together attempting to sound good.
Am I talking to a ghost?
Yeah.
Not to mention the useless interludes. Think of an album like Blonde. Whenever I'm listening to Blonde, I gotta hear the interludes. It's a part of the experience. Not for this one. They suck and they're unnecessary. There's over 20 tracks, by the way. It's just such a frustrating project to sit through knowing that it failed at its sole purpose. There are some highlights though, like on... Oh my god, Strobe Light is a bouncy, upbeat, energetic track which features Pevin Everett that is super motivating and uplifting, telling you to find the light in your life. Such an easy listen, an easy 9 out of 10 for me. And I'm not gonna pick an interlude as the worst, so I went with... Just look at the title, Sex Murder Party.
Bruh.
You can kind of get it from that alone. You're already off to a bad start. It has annoying rhythms, it has weird, ineffective topics, and yet it's still forgettable as fuck. And you know what's funny? Even his own mom doesn't like the song.
Bruh.
Like, come on, how do you manage to do that? That's how you know it's gotta be really disappointing. Gotta go with 3 out of 10 for this one. Humans could have been a solid 9 out of 10 album with all of the features and cool ideas, but it fell short on nearly every single front possible. With all of that being said though, there are still a lot of enjoyable moments, so for the most part, it's pretty decent. For me, I'm giving it a 57 out of 100. Cracker Island? That sounds like an island where there'd be an extra fridge in the garage and they'd probably clap when the plane lands. Anyway, it's their 2023 release, and I feel kinda bad for putting it this low because there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just a decent album, but there's also nothing inherently impressive about it. I mean, yes, of course there's some songs that I enjoy, but for the most part, it's just pretty good. I will say, it does try to paint this concept of a dreamy, paradise-like island with many of the songs fitting that tropical, beachy tone and atmosphere, but that also does work against it sometimes, making it feel pretty generic and commercial. I mean, at times when listening to this album, I can't tell if this is a Gorillaz project or if I'm on a goddamn Disney cruise ship. It just feels so safe and uninteresting a lot. And moving on to my favorite one, I had to go with
Cracker Island, it was born.
the intro and title track. Cracker Island does a phenomenal job at immersing you into this brand new world that Gorillaz has created. It feels super lively, groovy, and just happy. There's the brilliant Thundercat feature, and he's always just a perfect addition to add some catchy bass lines and vocals. I swear adding Thundercat to a track is like installing hacks to GTA 5. It just automatically makes everything more fun. Great song, 8 out of 10 for me. And for my least favorite, I just feel like I have to go with... I need to quickly mention, I like Bad Bunny. I like a lot of his projects. His halftime show was amazing. He's a fantastic artist. I hate that I have to say this because there's so many Bad Bunny haters nowadays, but he just failed here. Tormenta was Gorillaz' best attempt at making a reggaeton track. It ends up feeling more like being stuck on an island alone for 24 hours straight and getting so dehydrated to the point where you start imagining little coconut men singing and dancing. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It's really not that bad. Definitely pretty annoying, but I'll give it a 4 out of 10, okay? I guess my best way to explain Cracker Island is that it just really didn't do anything that the Gorillaz hadn't already done before. It's mainly just some decent, vibey music, but it's nothing much more than that. So I'm giving it a 66 out of 100.
Need you in the pictures.
The Now Now is the 2018 Gorillaz project, and I'm gonna review it now. This album has a lot less features than the previous two, which gives it the opportunity to feel more Gorillaz-like, and I'd say it succeeds at that. It doesn't really rely on anyone else besides themselves to be enjoyable. It has their classic electronic, synth-pop, electro-pop sound and fun atmosphere. I guess the only place where it falls short is its impact. I do enjoy this one while it's on, but it doesn't really leave me feeling pizzazzed when it ends, you know? And the album is really consistent, which is a positive thing, but there's also not really many highs. It's kind of all just good, but not much more than that. You know what I mean? I wish there was more moments that jumped out at me rather than just a bunch of, hey, this sounds cool kind of moments. I hope that makes sense, and when it comes to my favorite track, it's really close between Humility, Trance, and Sukai, but I decided to go with... Sukai is the gorgeous closer to the project, and the lyrics focus on loneliness and missing the person that you love. It's sad, but it's also validating to hear. It's got such grand, cinematic, soulful, dramatic, insert another describing word kind of production that just wraps everything up on such a positive note. I definitely really like this one, so fuck it, I'm feeling a 9 out of 10 here. And my least favorite one isn't really hard to choose. Shout out all my viewers out in Idaho. I was gonna say something about it, but all I really know about Idaho is there's like potatoes or something, right? Anyway, Idaho is the only track on the album that I consider to be a little bit weaker than the rest, and even then, it isn't a weak song. It's just some pretty ambience that I wish built a little more on itself. It's like going up the lift hill on a roller coaster, getting up and up and up, and once you get to the top, you realize that it's not nearly as tall as you originally expected. Yes, it's still cool to be up high, of course. It's just, I wish it was a little taller, you know? I hope that analogy makes even a little bit of sense. I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10. Yep, the Now Now is simply just a good Gorillaz album. It has everything that the fans love from the group, all put in a clean and modernized format. Although it doesn't quite hit the highs that their older music did, it does still provide a very enjoyable experience overall. I'm giving it a 71 out of 100.
I'm feeling glad I got
The original Gorillaz album, their debut, self-titled project from 2001, it's essentially the blueprint for all of their music, and it was incredibly influential within the soundscape of the early 2000s. There are a lot of extremely strong tracks here, like Clint Eastwood, 19-2000, and Tomorrow Comes Today, that proved how amazing they had the potential to be. But sadly, a decent amount of this project comes off sorta amateur. Not that it's bad or anything, but it just seems like they weren't fully experienced. Well, cause they literally weren't! This album is where they found their sound. This was the test run to find out what sticks and what falls flat, so obviously some of it will miss the mark. That's expected. And when it comes to my favorite track, I just had to go with 19-2000 is one of the most iconic sounding Gorillaz tracks, and it's one of those that many people will know just from hearing the first few seconds but not be able to name it. The lyrics are very simple and sometimes repetitive, but in the best way possible. It allows you to just enjoy the words as a sort of melody rather than actual lyrics, and jam out to that infectiously catchy instrumental. It takes over my mind and soul, easily some of the best production on a Gorillaz track ever. Gotta be a 10 out of 10 for me. And I feel bad for putting this at last, but I've chosen... Starshine isn't a bad track, not at all. It just feels a little unnecessary to me. It's like 3.5 minutes long, yet this is the entire thing. Yeah, there's not much here, and I don't think the instrumental is strong enough to make up for the lack of content. I don't hate it, but I also don't really like it much. I'm giving it the average 5 out of 10. That about wraps this one up. Please bear with me on this placement. I know a lot of people adore this project. I think Gorillaz is a must-hear if you're trying to understand the group more in depth. It's a great showcase of their early development, where their success comes from, and it also packs a lot of very, very strong punches. Good project. For me, it's a solid 73 out of 100.
How you need it. Oh, how you need it.
Song Machine Season 1 Strange Times is the 2020 Gorillaz release, and it's so much fun. It has one of the most stacked track lists of any one of their albums ever, but there's a catch to it. It does feel a lot more like a list of good songs rather than a cohesive album. There's not really much connecting the songs together. It sorta just jumps from one idea to the next randomly, and sure, that doesn't make it sound worse, but to me it makes the overall experience seem a little weaker. I realistically could just shuffle this album and listen to it in any order and it wouldn't make a difference, and I don't know, that lessens how special it is to me. It seems less deliberate. Think about like Damn by Kendrick Lamar. That has an intentional and necessary order. He put time into making sure that you listen to it in a certain way. This album does not have that. And sure, it might not be the biggest deal ever, but it's definitely most of the reason why this album didn't crack my top 3. Yeah, but anyway, my favorite track here has to be... Désolé is a beautiful track that swaps between English, French, and even Bambara, which is a West African language that's spoken in Mali, seamlessly. The title Désolé means sorry in French, which is exactly what the track is about. Apologizing to a partner, trying to fix this broken relationship and pull it all back together. So emotional, so heartbreaking, and so interesting. I'm going with a 10 on this one. And for my weakest one, yeah, I'm definitely choosing...
Drinking and smoking too much. That shit damage.
Look, I tried so hard to enjoy Octavian's vocals on this track. I really did, but I just don't like them. I will say though, the more I listen to the track, the more I'm able to appreciate the vocals, even if I don't love them. I mean, the production is fantastic, his writing is great, and even a lot of his background vocals are flawless, but for the most part, I just don't like his voice here. Sorry, but it's a 5 out of 10 for me. But yeah, I wish that Song Machine was a little more coherent, with maybe some small skits or even transitions between songs to make it all come together and feel more like one full project. But even though it doesn't, it still works out extremely well. It's just a bunch of great songs and it's super enjoyable. So 82 out of 100. The Mountain, their newest release, and maybe the reason that a lot of you even clicked on this video in the first place. It's an unbelievably ambitious project that uses various Arabic, Indian, and other cultural sounds and spiritualities to convey such an emotional experience. The album was actually based on a trip to India that they went to, as well as them both losing their fathers, just 10 days apart. They took this grief of their losses and paired it with the spiritual adventure they went on to create a piece of art that is super melancholic, super serious, super real, and unbelievably addictive to sit through. Although there is over an hour of content on this project, it all flies by so quickly because of how well paced and flowing it all is. There's also multiple different languages used on this album. First, and obviously, there's English. On the track Manifesto, Trueno speaks in Spanish. On Damascus, Omar Suleiman talks in Arabic. On The Hardest Thing, Tony Allen is speaking in Yoruba, a West African language, and The Shadowy Light has Asha Bosley singing in Hindi. All of these diverse languages gives the album such a unique, cultural, and expansive feel. It was like the entire world was coming together to create this one piece of art, like all of the Infinity Stones coming together for Thanos. It's beautiful. Also, something to mention is that there's like a million billion features on this project, which may come off very overwhelming, but don't worry, a lot of these are just instrumental features, they don't actually all speak. But yeah, my favorite track is very close between Orange County, The Happy Dictator, and The Sad God, but I've ultimately gone with The Sad God is the perfect outro to the record, which features both Black Thought and Kara Jackson. It's one of the 3 Black Thought songs on the album, and I definitely think this is his best verse. He's just talking about reflecting on himself and staying true to who he is. It's emotional, it's thoughtful, and it perfectly matches the grand and powerful production of the track. It hits such a high that it makes you feel like you actually reached the peak of the mountain that's there on the cover. It's almost euphoric. Definitely a 10 for me. Now, my least favorite, it's going to It's kind of funny how my favorite was the sad god, and my least favorite is the god of lying. Why did they both end up being about gods? No idea, but I guess one of them is sad and the other one is a lying son of a bitch. But yeah, this is a confusing track that is questioning whether us as humans are really happy or just pretending to be, with a feature from Idols. Good song, I enjoy it, it just didn't stand out nearly as much as anything else on the album. Hate to say it's the weakest, but I do think it's the shortest straw. 7 out of 10. Overall, I'm really happy with how The Mountain turned out. It's a very spiritual, cultural, diverse experience that's sure to leave an impact on the listener. It comes at music from a completely new angle that the Gorillaz have never done before, and I think they landed their shot nearly spot on. 88 out of 100 for me. Demon Days, released in 2005, has to be the Gorillaz' biggest album. It's the project where many, including myself, found the group. Yes, I heard Feel Good Inc. as their first song too, okay? It's the least original experience ever, but it's my experience. This album was a huge step up from their previous work, and it was the album that solidified them within the music sphere as an extremely talented group. I mean, there's just hit after hit after hit here. sure, it really is a project that nearly anyone can enjoy. And I also feel that this album is a perfect portal into more experimental music. Sure, it's not the most wild experience itself, but it is weird and quirky enough to be different from most other popular music at the time. So I think getting into this one can introduce you to a world of brand new and enjoyable music. Oh my god, there's so many catchy melodies, fun hooks, and mesmerizing production. For the best song, I'm so torn between November Has Come and Feel Good Inc. On one hand, Doom is my favorite rapper ever, and this is one of my favorite performances from him, but on the other hand, it's Feel Good Inc. I mean, come on! I know, it's a basic take, and someone's probably gonna call me a bot for saying it, but I think you're a bot if you hate on people for liking good music. I do think Feel Good Inc. is the best track off Demon Days. I think it's their biggest song ever for a reason. It has what I may consider to be the catchiest bass line in all of music history. After just one listen, you're hooked. And don't even get me started on the De La Soul feature. I mean, do I even need to explain it? It's one of the greatest features I've ever heard, with these amazing flows and rhyme schemes, unforgettable confidence, and my favorite part of the song for sure. Don't stop, get it, peep all your captains in it. Oh my god, it's so good. The song is actually a critique of people thinking with a mob mentality and saying to think and feel how you want to, not how others want you to. Definitely a 10 in my book. And my least favorite here is sadly... White Light is just a quick 2-minute track about alcohol, as you can see by these lyrics. It's a little repetitive, but I think it works for the most part, and I enjoy the funky production and calm, almost whispered delivery, although he does sound like he's trying to not wake up his mom in the room right next to him while he's recording his audio. It's still good though. I'm going with a 7 out of 10. Yeah, round of applause. Demon Days is iconic, it's amazing, it's memorable, and it's endless fun, but you already know that. It's an album that most people can collectively agree on just being such a fun time. There's something there for everyone to enjoy. And for me, I'm giving it a 93 out of 100. Plastic Beach is my favorite Gorillaz album. Released in 2010, this album does pretty much everything that Cracker Island tried to do, but infinitely better. It keeps that beachy, tropical, sunny atmosphere, but it also takes a heavily conceptual, deep route as well. The album takes place on the polluted and destroyed island called the Plastic Beach, and they thoroughly dive into topics like the destruction of the environment, the issues with consumerism, and the consequences of our modern world. On the cover, you can see a beautiful little modern looking fortress, which is their little house made out of trash on the island. This fortress is supposed to symbolize a human-made paradise. It represents us making the best out of a tough situation. It's honestly my favorite album cover of all time. It's so beautiful, so meaningful, and would be perfect to just have up as a poster in your room. And when it comes to the best song, tell me, how am I meant to choose between On Melancholy Hill, Empire Ants, and Rhinestone Eyes? All three of these tracks are probably in my top 5, maybe even top 3 Gorillaz songs, and it has some of the most mind-blowing production of the 2010s, but if I really had to choose, I guess I'll go with... Empire Ants starts with a slow, rising instrumental. It's very peaceful and calming ambience, which gradually leads into one of the most amazing instrumental changes I've ever heard. I could go on for hours on how powerful, how layered, and how full this beat is, but y'all probably already know all that. It's perfect in every sense of the word, and the song is about humankind, comparing us to little ants marching around, powering the world into what it is today. Easiest 10 out of 10 of my life. I hate hate that I have to choose a weakest. Why did I do this to myself? I'm not gonna cheat. I'll actually pick one. I've gone with Sweepstakes is a good song. It's pretty much just a Mos Def track. I mean, look, it's literally all him. He's the only one who talks. It's enjoyable. The production is good. It just feels a little out of place on the project, and I don't think it pushes the boundaries of music as much as the other ones do. But the lyrics are very powerful, though. It's a social commentary that is critiquing capitalism, gambling, and consumerism, all told very well. Good job, Mos Def. You saved this one. It's like a strong 7 out of 10 for me. Well, that's all I gotta say here. Plastic Beach feels like everything that makes Gorillaz amazing, all thrown into just one singular project. Fantastic production, catchy hooks, unique soundscapes, great features, an amazing concept, and forever lasting happiness. I am giving it a 96 out of 100. Thanks for watching to the end. Comment Soulja Boy to prove you made it here, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.